Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shola's Mentorship Blueprint Podcast, a place where we empower minds and shape leaders. I remain your host, Olushola Odubanjo, a registered nurse, a chartered manager, and a mentor. I would like to take a moment to appreciate all our amazing listeners who have been following, listening, and engaging with this channel since its inception. Your support and engagement have truly been inspiring. Thank you for being part of this journey. So today, we're diving into a conversation that touches every corner of society, from boardrooms to classrooms, from politics to parenting, which is leadership is required everywhere. Are we evolving with it? Here's the real question. Is leadership evolving where you are? I'd like to see your answer in the comment section. Let's start this conversation. Or are we still trapped in the comfort zone of the past, holding on to yesterday's leadership in a tomorrow that refuses to wait? Leadership today is not a seat at the table. It's far from that now. It's a state of being. You lead everywhere you go. You lead in every decision you make, every person you influence, every situation you choose to engage with or ignore. Now, in today's world, leadership is not only about boardroom. It's actually in the hospital, on a ward where you have a nurse trying to calm a frightened patient. It's also in a tech organization where you have a 25-year-old builds culture through inclusion and collaboration. It's in the teacher who stays after hours to help one struggling student succeed. So leadership is not about authority. It's about authenticity. And I've spoken about this in one of my previous episodes. Today's leader is not simply the loudest in the room. They are the most intentional. They lead with presence, empathy, and courage. Because here's the truth. Leadership isn't optional anymore. It's not. It's the only way we'll navigate the complexity of this era of social media, digital, environmental, and moral. Let's pause and ask, are we evolving as leaders? That's a question for you to think and answer. For decades, leadership was defined by hierarchy. The leader knew best, the team followed, the power flowed downward. Because that model has changed or changing in some places, not because it's wrong, but because the world around has changed. Our workforce today is diverse, dynamic, and digital. The younger generation doesn't just want a paycheck. Well, a paycheck is part of it, but that's not the only thing. They want purpose. They don't want bosses. They actually want mentors. And yet, many organizations are still leading with a manual that has been written like 50 years ago, based on compliance instead of connection, control instead of collaboration. Does that resonate with anyone? So ask yourself, are you still leading with the mindset of the older generation, or are you evolving with your workforce? Because the next generation isn't waiting for permission. They are not. They are leading already through innovation, through their voice, through values. Now, this doesn't mean that we abandon the wisdom of the older generation. That is far from it. There's a profound value in experience, the ability to see patterns, anticipate risks, and understand human behavior. Great leadership today means blending past experience with new ideas and ways of growing. Now, think of it this way. The older generation built the foundation. The younger generation is building the future. And in between, we need bridges, leaders who can translate between both worlds. That means leading with humility, not excess pride, listening more than speaking. Be curious, not condescending, because great leader doesn't dominate conversations within the team. They actually elevate it. Now, let's talk about the unchanging pillars of leadership. Traits that transcend generations, industries, and cultures. Integrity, unbiased judgment, and humanity. These are not just soft skills. These are actually, I call it soul skills. They are the difference between influence and manipulation, between trust and transaction. No matter what generation you lead, either the Gen X, the Gen Z, or even the emerging Gen Alpha, integrity remains your compass. Because integrity means doing the right thing when no one is applauding. It actually means refusing to cut corners for convenience. It means valuing people over profit. Yes, I hear people say profit is quite really important. How do you run an organization or business without making profits? I hear that. I get that. But also remember, you won't be able to get the profit if you don't have a happy and valued workforce. Unbiased leadership means recognizing your blind spots. It means seeing people as people, not through filters of race, gender, background, or title. And humanity, the often forgotten element, means leading with empathy, not ego, because that's what we see a lot. Remembering that leadership isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. So, to emerging leaders out there, the ones stepping into their first leadership role, the ones driving startups, leading community projects, or even influencing through social media, I have a question for you. What are you seeing out there? I'd like you to put your answer in the comment section, because from where I stand, I see both promise and challenges. I see brilliant minds, innovative, inclusive, fearless, but I also see burnout, discouraged, and sometimes a dangerous race of visibility over value. Leadership isn't about being seen. It's about making a difference. Don't mistake popularity for purpose. Be intentional about your influence. Lead with empathy. And when you rise, and you will definitely rise, remember to lift others as you climb. The most sustainable form of leadership is shared leadership, the kind that empowers, the kind that inspires others to find the leader within themselves. So let's return to our opening question. Is leadership evolving where you are? Are you cultivating spaces where people feel seen, heard, and valued? Or are you simply maintaining systems that keeps things familiar? Because leadership at its core, it's not about holding power, it's about passing it on. It's about leaving the room, the team, the organization better than you found it. As you lead across generations, across industries, across continents, remember this: leadership is not a destination, it's a daily decision. And the best leaders aren't defined by their titles, but they're defined by their impact, their integrity, and their humanity. So, wherever you are, in a meeting room, in a classroom, factory, family, class, wherever, choose to lead, because leadership is required everywhere, and the world is watching how we evolve. Now, this brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If this conversation challenged you, inspired you, or reminded you of the kind of leader you want to be, please share it, because the next revolution in leadership begins with you.